strives to maintain a high quality of life for all citizens through sound fiscal management and legislative actions. In an ongoing effort to increase transparency, your Board of Supervisors holds public meetings to garner citizen input before making important decisions. Here is tonight's meeting agenda. Stay tuned. The Board of Supervisors meeting will begin shortly.
Call this meeting of the James City County Board of Supervisors regular meeting to order. Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Stevens, if you could call the roll.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Knoll?
Present.
Ms. Knoll represents the Stonehouse District. Mr. Hipple?
Here.
Mr. Hipple represents the Powhatan District. Mr. McGlennon?
Here.
Mr. McGlennon represents the Roberts District. Mr. Eisenhower?
Here.
Mr. Eisenhower represents the Jamestown District and is Vice Chair of the Board. Ms. Larson?
Here.
Ms. Larson represents the Berkeley District and is Chair of the Board. Sitting to my far left is Adam Kinsman, County Attorney. I'm Scott Stevens, County Administrator, and it's my pleasure to be Clerk to the Board. All present.
Thank you so much. This evening, we will have a moment of silence followed by our Pledge of Allegiance, and Supervisor McGlennon will be introducing our pledge leader.
Thank you very much, Chair Larson. Today, we are very fortunate to have with us Lillian Martin. Lillian is a second grader, just about to complete second grade at James River Elementary, and will be entering third grade in the fall. Lillian is somebody that I could probably spend less time explaining what she's not interested in than explaining what she is interested in.
All right.
She would like to study science. She's interested in perhaps being a veterinarian at a later point in life. She is interested in cooking and auto mechanics. She is a swimmer. She practiced ballet in the past, and she has a very high score on her courses coming out of James River Elementary this year. She's accompanied today by her mother, Ms. Martin, thank you for being here today, and her brother Nathan, who is a seventh grader at Berkeley. And so, Lillian, if you would come forward to lead us in the pledge after a moment of silence, we'd appreciate it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Lillian. If you'd like to come up, I've got a couple of things for you, and then I think we'd like to have the board come and take a picture with you. Yes. This is a certificate, and then you can put our marks. Come up too.
brings us to public comment. This evening, we have one speaker, Peg Borman. You're up.
Before I go any further, may I make a suggestion?
Sure.
The eagle is flying backwards on the flag.
Oh, he is. Could one of you all turn him around, please? Thank you, Ms. Borman. Tell you what, trash and flag etiquette, you do it all. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
No.
I didn't want to embarrass anybody, but
That's
I just
good.
can't stand to see things like that.
There you
Good
go.
afternoon, and thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the board, Mr. Stevens, Mr. Purse, Mr. Reinheimer, Mr. Kinsman, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Peg Borman. I reside at 17 Settlers Lane in Lightfoot, Virginia. I come to you this afternoon to once again talk to you about trash and litter, whatever you might want to call all that stuff that's on our roadways. I detest the sight of it, but I'm afraid it's something we're all going to have to see every day somewhere. It doesn't have to be if we'd all just be aware of what could blow out of the back of a truck or the pickups or even out of our car windows. I also want to make you aware of not abusing the recycling containers. Food does not belong in those, and certainly not wishful thinking plastics. So many times we could recycle all things that are no longer recyclable now. I just want to tell you a little story. I cleaned out a recycle container at one of the parks recently. It was overflowing with used paper plates, plastic plates, all kinds of leftover foods in them, styrofoam cups, as well as all plastic cups, and none of those things were recyclable. I filled up both the landfill containers with the trash in the recycling container, and it was over half filled by the time I finished picking up all the aluminum cans and drink bottles and that have necks and cardboard and all the stuff that was on the ground outside the container. But I don't like doing that, but I will because I don't like seeing it. And I want to make sure that the containers are not contaminated, because it's obvious that the folks that were there before me were either misinformed or didn't care, and maybe a little bit of both. But remember, recycling correctly, or you will be contaminating the whole load that's being picked up or the container in which it's put. So anyway, that's just a word for the wise. June 1st was our Clean the Bay Day. It was an opportunity for us to prevent litter and trash being washed into the bay. We had 48 volunteers that collected 316 pounds of debris and trash and so forth. The commission has just finished the Good Neighbor Grant with 4 applicants. The next sign-up period will begin on July 1st, and they will receive applicants until September the 15th, and then it will accumulate again in April and May. You can look for it on the website, the county website, in order to get involved with maybe your neighborhood. We'll be hosting the Will Barnes Day Volunteer Appreciation Picnic at Veterans Park, and my hope is to see all of you all there. You've told me maybe you're coming, so I hope to see you. The Will Barnes, he's a volunteer who, the volunteers have been picking up the trash is who we're going to honor that day. But Will Barnes' birthday is June 14th, and we try to celebrate as close as we can to that date. Also, the Reordain Club will be presenting the Jim Robertson Will Barnes Scholarship at that time. Jim, as some of you may know, was the first chairman in 1979 of the commission, and then Will came on board in 1999. So, and I was privileged to work with both of them. So, anyway, thank you for letting me talk trash again this month, and thank you for your time, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you. And I was just going to add that there are lots of resources that you can go and see exactly what is recyclable and what is not. And I urge people to look. I think you can look on Instagram. There's videos. You can go to the BPPSA website. There's all kinds of information out there because you were so right about it contaminating. And it's very important to not do that. So
That's very important. Thank you.
thank you.
I didn't think I had time to say all that, but you did.
Thanks for what you did say. All right, that brings us to our consent calendar, of which we have no items. And so that brings us to our public hearings. Our Planning Commission rep this evening is Mr. Frank Polster. Thank you, Mr. Polster. And our first public hearing is Z240002 SUP-24-002 Bright Beginnings Pre-K Center at Clara Byrd Baker. Wow, Ben, you've just appeared to give the staff presentation. So kick us off.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the Board of Supervisors. Ms. Holly Adams of Alpha Corporation has applied on behalf of Williamsburg, James City County Public Schools to rezone approximately 1.98 acres of land located at 3175 Ironbound Road from R8 Rural Residential to PL Public Lands. Ms. Adams has also applied for a corresponding special use permit to allow a 41,326 square foot pre-K center at 3175 and 3131 Ironbound Road. Staff finds the proposed conditions will mitigate impacts to surrounding properties and development. Staff also finds that this proposal is compatible with surrounding zoning and development and is consistent with the 2045 Comprehensive Plan, zoning ordinance, and the primary principles for the Five Forks area. At the May 1st, 2024 regular meeting, the Planning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval of this rezoning and SUP request to the Board of Supervisors, subject to the proposed conditions. They also found this proposal to be substantially consistent with the 2045 Comprehensive Plan per Section 15.2-2232 of the Code of Virginia. Staff also finds that this proposal is compatible with surrounding zoning and development and is consistent with the 2045 Comprehensive Plan and zoning ordinance. Taking all factors favorable into account, staff recommends that the Board of Supervisors approve this application subject to the proposed conditions. Thank you for your time this evening, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have, and the applicant is available as well.
Thank you. Are there any questions at this point? All right. With that, Mr. Polster?
Madam Chair, members of the board, there were some discussions on both SUPs, 02 and 03, with the WJC staff and the architectural design firm on construction standards and drop-off traffic flow. On the construction standards issues, the school staff stated that the school system is committed to incorporating energy-efficient designs into the construction. On the drop-off traffic flow issue, architectural drawings show the drop-off traffic plan for both pre-K schools. As a fallback, there was also the possibility of staggering hours of operation between the preschool and the elementary school. On a roll call vote, the commission voted to recommend approval of both the zoning and the SUP for Bright Beginnings, Clara Byrd, and also found that it was consistent with the 2045 comprehensive plan. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Polster? Okay, thank you so much. With that, we will open the public hearing. And we have one speaker, Holly Adams. Good evening. If you'll just state your address, please.
Yes, my business address is 295 Bendix Road, Suite 340 in Virginia Beach. And on behalf of Williamsburg, James City County Public Schools, we are really excited to have two new Bright Beginnings centers on tonight's agenda. And we have the project team here to answer any questions that you might have.
Much. Are there any questions? All right, thank you. Are there any other speakers? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. Ben, I don't know if you're the person. I was glad, and Mr. Polster also mentioned it about the traffic because there is an increase. So I hope that the school system will possibly look at the staggered times. And then the only other comment that I had, and that if this could be passed to schools, to WJCC, I'd appreciate it. I know that we've been trying to work with them on trail access, and that is very important to me. And so I hope we'll continue before we conclude the transfer of this property, that we come to some sort of agreement with trail access, and make sure that our Parks and Rec staff has accessibility to that. Thank you. Are there any others?
Just one, in terms of the timing of traffic, my understanding was that the school was looking seriously at changing the start times for elementary and high schools, and that would seem to address this issue pretty effectively, since it would move the elementary day at an earlier point. I don't know whether how much progress the schools have made on that front, but
I have no idea. I have
we can
not
ask
heard
that on Thursday at school liaison.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
But I'd also just like to say that I'm very excited about the agenda tonight. Almost everything on it is very important and positive. And in terms of being able to move forward on this project, I think it will be just great. I wonder if the architect might be able to tell us about, or the project manager, about the estimated time of start of construction and how long that project will take.
My name's Eddie Evans. I'm the project architect, and our address is 2402 North Parham Road, Richmond, Virginia. Thank you very much for having us here and having us being able to make some comments about these two great projects. Right now, I think the only holdup that's tracking a little bit longer than we anticipated is some of the planning and zoning aspects. I think from the latest information that we've received thus far, we're hoping that we will have the project ready to go out to bid sometime October, November. And we anticipate right around a year of construction time. So that'll put us around October, November of 2025. Do you have any other questions about the schedule?
Just wondering why, I'm a little surprised that it's taking quite that long to get the project out to bid, and hopefully we can make that an effective, quick process.
Yeah, we're hoping so too. There's been a few delays in the planning and zoning issues that we've run into, but I think we're gaining some momentum on those, and hopefully we will get some closure to those pretty soon.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And with that, I'd be happy to start moving resolutions and certifications if that's appropriate.
Certainly. If do we need to move? We need to have a separate though for the second one, right? So if you want to move this motion for the pre-K center at Clara Byrd Baker.
And I'm just trying to we'll move for the resolution for the bright beginnings pre-K center Clara Byrd Baker rezoning and special use permit.
Thank you. Mr. Stevens?
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Mr. Hippel?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I think we may also have an issue of moving some property into public lands. Is that correct?
That was the rezoning.
That was the
part of
rezoning,
it.
okay.
Yes, sir. We still have an issue of transferring it to the school division, but that will come at a later date to move that along as well.
That brings us to Z24-003, SUP 24003, Bright Beginnings Pre-K Center at Norge Elementary. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the Board of Supervisors. Ms. Holly Adams of Alpha Corporation has applied on behalf of WJCC Public Schools to rezone approximately 0.23 acres located at 7311A Richmond Road from R2 General Residential to PL Public Lands. Ms. Adams has also applied for a corresponding special use permit to allow a 42,000 square foot pre-K center at 7311 and 7311A Richmond Road. Staff finds the proposed conditions will mitigate impacts to surrounding zoning and development, or surrounding properties and development. Staff also finds that this proposal is compatible with surrounding zoning and development and is consistent with the 2045 Comprehensive Plan and Zoning Ordinance. At the May 1st, 2024 regular meeting, the Planning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval of this rezoning and SUP request to the Board of Supervisors, subject to the proposed conditions. They also found the proposal to be substantially consistent with the 2045 Comprehensive Plan per Section 15.2-2232 of the Code of Virginia. Staff also finds that this proposal is compatible with surrounding zoning and development and is consistent with the 2045 Comprehensive Plan and Zoning Ordinance. Taking all factors favorable into account, staff recommends that the Board of Supervisors approve this application subject to the proposed conditions. Thank you for your time this evening, and I am happy to answer any questions you may have, and the applicant's also available.
Thank you so much. Mr. Polster?
I've really got nothing to add to the comments on the construction of the traffic flow, but I will say that with the Norge school, the traffic flow is much more extensive, so that if you're looking at the front of the Norge school, the in goes to the left and around to the back, drops off at the school, and then winds all the way to the back of the property. So it's more extensive. So you're not likely to see traffic backed up on 60, which was really a concern. I think that, and of course, the fallback was the position of the school. Then they could stagger if it became a problem. Other than that, the Planning Commission recommended approval of both the zoning and the SUP for the Bright Beginnings at Norge on a 6-0, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff and/or Mr. Polster this time? All right. Thank you very much. Ms. Adams, did you have anything to add? Okay. Well, I'll open the public hearing. Ms. Adams has no other cards. Close the public hearing. I will look to the board for discussion and/or a motion.
So, Madam Chair, on this one, do we have both an ordinance and a resolution to approve?
Yes.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes.
Is it the intent to build both of these projects at the same time?
I believe so.
Okay, that's all I want to know. So we're not waiting for one to be finished to do the other. Fabulous. Okay, thank you.
And can we move both at the same time?
Ordinance and the resolution?
I believe that's the way that we had.
Yes, sir, as long as it's clear that you're doing both. Okay, so I move the approval of both the ordinance and the resolution before us.
All right, Mr. Stevens?
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Mr. Hippel?
Aye.
Mr. McGlennon?
Aye.
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And while I certainly do hope that we do move and get whatever issues may be out there on, just a slight reminder that we did give the money for the design in December of 2021. So not all the issues related to any delays fall on this board's feet. But I am excited about these two projects and look forward to working with the WJCC school system and all those that are involved to open these two new buildings. So with that, staff will do a joint presentation on the following items, and then we will hold separate public hearings. Z240005, Clark Talley Residential Rezoning, lease of 6197 Old Mooretown Road, James City County Real Estate Tax Map Parcel Number 32201000038, an ordinance of vacation regarding
Catalpa.
Thank you. Drive. I'm sorry. I don't have my reading glasses on either. That's not helping the situation. Good evening, Tom. And if Thomas looks familiar, that's because he's famous in the Next Door Neighbor magazine. He'll sign autographs later.
Chair
Good
and
evening.
members of the board. Mr. Von Pauler of Neighborhood Development has applied on behalf of the county to rezone approximately 15.82 acres from the R2 General Residential Zoning District to the R3 Residential Redevelopment District with proffers. This proposal is to allow up to 47 residential dwellings consisting of 27 single-family detached units and 20 single-family attached units, resulting in a density of approximately 3.02 units per acre. The subject property is inside the primary service area and is designated for low-density residential on the adopted comprehensive plan. Single-family detached and attached housing are both recommended uses within this designation. Furthermore, the comprehensive plan strongly supports the provision of affordable workforce housing within the county. The applicant has proffered that 100% of the proposed units will be affordable and that the units will be constructed consistent with the county's character design guidelines. Furthermore, staff has found that the proposed development will not negatively impact the county's character or existing facilities. With this application, the applicant has requested an exception request for the Parks and Recreation Facility Guidelines, citing the fact that certain facilities could not be supported by such a small development, and our Parks and Recreation Department does support that exception request and has signed off on the layout of recreation amenities for the development. This proposal also includes, or complementary to this proposal, is a lease agreement for 6197 Old Mooretown Road. This agreement is between the county who owns the land and the resident of the existing home. And essentially, because the county owns the property, we want to make sure that the person in this home is not evicted or losing their home. And so this agreement would allow her to continue to live on the house as this project proceeds. And the county plans to help her find a suitable home in the future. And the other component of this is the vacation of Catalpa Drive. This was never improved as a road or brought into the VDOT system. The 4 homes adjacent to Catalpa Drive will still continue to have property access using their existing private easements, which will be unaffected by the board's action tonight. So essentially, this is removing an unnecessary right-of-way to allow for the proposed redevelopment and allow for the construction of a state road that will be maintained by VDOT. Overall, staff finds this proposal to be consistent with the comprehensive plan and surrounding development. And at its May Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission did recommend approval of this proposal by a vote of 6-0, provided the proffers are accepted. As such, staff recommends the Board of Supervisors approve this proposed rezoning, subject to the proposed proffers, and approve the vacation of Catalpa Drive, as well as the lease agreement of 6197 Old Mooretown Road. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have at this time. Unfortunately, Mr. Puller could not be with us tonight, but Ms. Payne from Neighborhood Development is in the audience. And thank you for the time.
Thank you. Are there any questions? I did have one question on the lease agreement with the resident. What would we do if we got to a point where if we were trying to find another place and it didn't work out? I mean, have we talked about all of that, and do we feel fairly confident that we'll be able to work out something? I don't know where we're looking, but
Yes, my understanding is that we are confident that we could work with her to find a home.
Okay.
And that would be a priority before moving forward with the redevelopment of that property.
okay, great.
Yep.
Appreciate that. Any other questions? All right. Mr. Polster is going to give the PC report regarding the rezoning case.
There was some discussion on the price point of the 47 residential units. The applicant had proffered 100% of the proposed units would be affordable. And further discussion, 8 of the units will be built by the Habitat for Humanity Peninsula and Greater Williamsburg, with a price point between 40 and 80% of the annual mean income. The remaining 39 unit price point is unknown at this time. Both the Habitat and the county will hold a soft second mortgage so that if a unit is sold above the original sale price, the difference would go back to the Habitat or to the county, so there's no flipping in this for it. On a roll call vote, the commission voted to recommend approval of Z24005, Clark Talley Residential 6-0, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions for Mr. Polster?
I'm not sure if Mr. Polster wants to answer this, Ms. Payne, or Thomas might want to answer it, but I thought that the indication of the packet was that 80%, that half of the homes would have to be at the 80% or below level. Is that not correct?
I do not know that. All I know is 100% Tom. They just split out the habitat at 40 to 80,
Right.
and then they didn't tell us about what it would be for the other 37.
So the way that the proffer reads is that 100% of all units shall be initially sold to families between 30 and 120% of AMI.
Right.
And then the further clarification in the proffer is that at least 25% of all housing units will be sold to families earning between 30 and 80% of AMI. So not, it could be half, but the minimum proffered amount is 25% of units sold for 30 to 80% of AMI.
Okay, 120% winds up being a fairly expensive home, but I thought that I'd seen that, but I'll just assume that that's right.
All right, I'm gonna open the public hearing for the rezoning case. Are there any?
No, ma'am.
Okay, no speakers. I'm gonna close the public hearing. I'm gonna look to the board for discussion or motion regarding the rezoning. Is there a motion?
Motion for approval?
Thank you. Mr. Stevens?
Mr. McGlinnan.
Aye.
Ms. Knoll.
Aye.
Mr. Hippel.
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower. Aye. Ms. Larson.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I'm going to open the public hearing for the lease of 69197 Old Mooretown Road. Are there any speakers?
No, ma'am.
I'll close the public hearing. I'll look to the board for discussion and/or a motion regarding the lease.
Motion for approval for the lease?
Thank you. Mr. Stevens?
Mr. Eisenhower.
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan.
Aye.
Ms. Knoll.
Aye.
Mr. Hippel.
Aye.
Ms. Larson.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I'm going to open the public hearing for the ordinance of vacation. Are there any speakers?
No, ma'am.
We'll close the public hearing. I will look to the board for discussion and/or a motion regarding the ordinance of vacation.
Motion for approval?
Thank you. Mr. Stevens?
Mr. Hippel.
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower.
Aye.
Ms. Knoll.
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan.
Aye.
Ms. Larson.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. That brings us to lease agreement with the Williamsburg Area Medical Assistance Corporation. Mr. Kinsman to give the staff presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the board. Before you tonight is a resolution to extend the existing lease with Old Town Medical and Dental Center at the Human Services Building for an additional 3 years. The terms of the underlying lease remain the same, including the rent escalation clause. Recommend approval of the resolution, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions? Just to make sure that they are aware that we are in the process of trying to plan on whether or not we're going to have a government center and who's going to be in that government center. So there is a possibility that the county will need that space at some point.
Very much.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Any further questions? Okay. I will open the public hearing. Are there any speakers?
No, ma'am.
I will close the public hearing.
Approval of the lease?
Thank you. Mr. Stevens?
Mr. Eisenhower.
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan.
Aye.
Mr. Hippel.
Aye.
Ms. Knoll.
Aye.
Ms. Larson.
Aye.
Motion carries.
An ordinance to amend and reordain Chapter 10, Garbage and Refuge of the Code of the County of James City, Virginia.
Thank you,
Adam
Madam
Kinsler.
Chair, members of the board. At your May 14th meeting, the board determined that the cost charged to citizens for recycling services should equal the cost charged to the county. That particular charge is hardwired into the code, so we need a code revision that would allow the county administrator to adjust that charge as it is adjusted every few years. If you wish to do that, I recommend approval of the attached ordinance. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, I will open the public hearing. Any speakers? I will close. There must be an area there that's a thud. I will close the public hearing and look to the board for discussion and/or a motion.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Mr. Stevens?
Mr. Hippel.
Aye.
Ms. Knoll.
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan.
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower. Aye. Ms. Larson.
Aye.
Motion carries.
An ordinance to amend and reordain Chapter 8, Erosion and Sediment Control, Article 1, Erosion and Sediment Control, and Article 2, the Virginia Stormwater Management Program. Tony Small to give staff presentation. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. I am here to present an ordinance to amend and reordain Chapter 8 of the County Code for the board's consideration. The DEQ has consolidated 3 existing regulations into a single Virginia Erosion and Stormwater Management Regulation, Chapter 875. The State Water Control Board approved and adopted its consolidated regulation on June 22nd, 2023, and the new consolidated regulation and the repeal of the existing 3 regulations are effective July 1, 2024. As part of this regulatory process, every locality in Virginia that operates as a VSMP authority, which includes James City County, needs to adopt a new ordinance establishing a combined Virginia Erosion and Stormwater Management Program, or VESMP, and updating citations to reference the new Chapter 875. Therefore, the state-mandated update to Chapter 8 of the James City County Code is to incorporate these new consolidated regulation changes into the county code using the DEQ model ordinance guidance. This amended and reordained Chapter 8 will be called the Virginia Erosion and Stormwater Management Ordinance of James City County and only contains language from the new model ordinance and some carryover language from the existing Chapter 8. To ensure consistency with the new state code requirements, staff recommends adoption of the new Erosion and Stormwater Management Ordinance, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions?
We have to do this.
It is a
So-
state mandated thing
Right.
from DEQ.
It's coming down and saying, this is what you need to do to stay in compliance with what we already have. So that the citizens know it's not James City County changing something, as we've told more than one time, that sometimes the state changes something and we have to adjust our books and records in order to reflect what the state's asking us to change.
That's correct. Every VSMP authority will have to adopt a model
Yes.
ordinance type ordinance to address this consolidated regulation.
Thank you.
And if I could follow up on that, this is a pretty long existing ordinance and a very long replacement ordinance. But because they are so different, I just wonder if there's any kind of high-level sense of what is changed in these this new set of regulations.
Our existing Chapter 8 was broken into Article 1 and Article 2, Article 1 being the erosion and sediment control, and Article 2 being stormwater. And the major change is now the model ordinance merged those together. So instead of having 2 sections for definitions in Chapter 8, now there's 1. So it's, for readability, it's going to be a lot cleaner and easier for folks to understand.
I guess what I'm really looking for, though, is not something about the organization of the ordinance, but rather the substance of it.
There's almost no changes to the substance of the ordinance. It is literally consolidating 3 existing regulations that the state had into 1.
Okay, just so long as I understand that's the intent here.
Now, I've heard from a few people that said, I don't know if they're connecting it with this or not, but that we're going to go to basically a BMP. If somebody's building a home, they're going to have to put a BMP in place at the home while they're building it to contain the water. Other than what we've done in the past is put the silt fence up, control the water, make sure it's not going on any other properties and contain it there. Some people think that we're going to require them to put a BMP in place while they're building a house and then cover it up after we're done. That's not what
That's not part of the consolidated regulation or the model ordinance. It's just merging 3 regulations into 1 and making sure our references are correct in that regard.
That's what I thought it was. And I told them, I said, I don't think we're, getting that far into weeds with that type stuff. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Any further questions? Thank you very much. I will open the public hearing. Do we have any speakers? I will close the public hearing. I will look to the board for discussion and/or a motion.
Move the ordinance.
Thank you.
Mr. McGlinnan.
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower.
Aye.
Ms. Knoll.
Aye.
Mr. Triplett.
Aye.
Ms. Larson.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, that brings us to board considerations. 2024 Community Development Block Grant Application. Ms. Payne, good evening.
We are here to ask for your permission to apply for a community development block grant for Moses Lane. We will pave the end of Moses Lane and put in some much-needed drainage measures. Right now, that's a private road, and this will allow the road to be state-maintained and take that burden off of the existing homeowners. We also will, with the grant, we will be able to rehabilitate 4 unsafe homes for low-income families. This is very similar to the grant that you approved last year for 2023. Unfortunately, the CDBG funds are limited and it's a competitive process, and our grant was not funded last year. So we want to reapply to try to help the residents out there this year.
Thank you. Are there questions?
I don't have a question, but I do want to make a comment, which is basically to say that this is a great application to put in, and it's part of the work that's being done in our housing office constantly to make sure that we're making some progress in terms of rehabilitating housing that has deteriorated over the years, so that they can become safe and comforting again and secure for the residents, finding new opportunities to put in affordable housing, and I think we ought to take a great deal of pride in the work that's being done by Ms. Payne, Mr. Poller, and the whole staff, Mr. Denny and others, to make sure that this happens. So I'm very excited about this opportunity to help address a serious issue that folks are experiencing in those habitat homes where they're running into drainage problems and problems with getting around in the very tight quarters in there. Thanks.
Absolutely. I would like to add to that as well. As I was going through my agenda last week and just recognizing all of the work that you all have been doing and the difference that it's going to make for families here in our county, and just want to thank you and everyone that had a hand in the several things that we've done this evening. Appreciate it very much. So there are no more questions. I will look to the board for discussion and/or a motion.
Move the adoption of the grant application.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens.
Mr. Hippel?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Motion carries.
That brings us to HW 230001, Ford's Village Retirement Center Height Waiver. Ben, I believe you're back up.
Good evening again, Madam Chair and
Good
members
evening.
of the board. At its April 9th, 2024 meeting, the board postponed this application due to concerns regarding the proposed chimneys exceeding the 60-foot height limit in the R4 zoning district. The public hearing was closed at the initial meeting on April 9th, 2024. As a result of this concern, the applicant has revised the design of the building with the proposed chimneys no longer exceeding 60 feet in height. With the revised design, only a lightning protection system for the building would exceed 60 feet in height. The proposed lightning protection system design would consist of 2 8-foot-tall lightning rods that would rise to a total height of 68 feet. With the proposed modifications, staff finds that this application still meets the 6 criteria for the approval of a height waiver found in Section 24-286 of the zoning ordinance. Therefore, staff continues to recommend approval of this application. Should the Board of Supervisors approve this application, staff have also included proposed conditions to mitigate potential impacts. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, and the applicant's available as well.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff? Okay. Thank you. I will look to the board for discussion and/or a motion.
Motion for approval?
Thank you. Mr. Stevens?
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Mr. Hippel?
Aye.
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower? Aye. Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great. That brings us to purchase of a portion of the property at 215 Curry Drive. Ms. Payne?
Evening again.
Good evening.
For the rezoning that you just approved for Clark Lane, our engineers designed, in the master plan, you would have seen it, access onto Curry Drive from into the existing or the new neighborhood to be developed. The owners of Curry Drive have agreed, yes, there you can see the highlighted access road. The owners of 215 Curry Drive have agreed to sell us that portion needed for the right-of-way. So we ask that you approve our request to purchase that.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions? All right, I'll look to the board for a discussion and/or a motion.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Mr. Stevens?
Mr. Hippel?
Aye.
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan? Aye. Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. That brings us to board requests and directives. Ms. Knoll? Mr.
Good.
Hipp- Okay.
Just a couple of quick things. Last Wednesday, I was able to, with Ms. Larson to attend the GED graduation at Lafayette High School. This was a great event with 20, I believe it was 22 graduates receiving their diplomas at the ceremony, and a total of 35 who had completed their GED, where they've recognized that the traditional classroom environment in schools was not suited to their particular learning style, but came back and found a receptive audience in the school system to provide them with an alternative way of gaining the credential of a high school diploma. And it's always very inspiring to watch that accomplishment occur. And I also was able to attend last week a session at Williamsburg Landing, where they produced their annual award to the greatest service provision for seniors in the community. And this year they selected our Connect program as the recipients. And I think it was not only wonderful recognition at that point, but there was an opportunity for the staff at the Connect program to explain a little bit about the ways in which that money will be put to use. And the folks at Williamsburg Landing, I think, were very impressed and interested in seeing if there were other ways in which they could help the organization in the future. So leave it with that.
I would ask that we can put up a picture here. On Saturday, June the 1st, I was asked to attend a Forge Colony Native Habitat Garden opening. And our Forge Colony Green Team, co-chaired by Mike Whitfield and Cheryl Hanna, put this up. And I'll turn around since we can't see it on our things here. This is the pond along Williamsburg West Drive, and you see there are two little trellises on either end, and there's a solar array on the far end. In between is a garden that is totally all native habitat plants that they have planted. And where the solar panel is, there's a feed into the lake, and they have the solar panel charges a battery, which then has in the underground box a pump, so that they can turn that on and use a hose to irrigate the entire garden. And when it's all fully established and they don't need it anymore, they can pull that out and move it to the next one that they're going to do. So it was pretty impressive. They had a very series of tents. We had a lot of the county recycling and green efforts that were highlighted there. A lot of people turned out. So kudos to those folks for a really good operation. The other thing I attended on Tuesday, the 4th of June, was Literacy for Life. I believe Ms. Larson and I were both there. This lady over here. And I think she will probably confirm for you that it was an impressive ceremony. It was a room full of young people. Many are immigrants. We had, I think, about 15 who were new United States citizens that were listed there. A bunch had completed high school GED or equivalencies. Some were in post-secondary enrollment. A lot of professional and credentials and certificates that were being worked toward. A young man named Busare Reke, who was from the Congo, and was there. He was a speaker, and he was an impressive speaker. For someone whose English is a second language, he was extremely fluent and very eloquent. And he did translate for his mother, who just spoke no English. So he made a very interesting presentation. He's going to the Virginia Training Academy to become an electrician trainee. His goal is to run his own electrical shop. So, and then we had a young lady, Vanessa Alvarez, who had not finished high school. Finally got her National External Diploma from the NEDP graduate program. A young lady with 3 children, who has just really made great strides in life. So it was a very impressive program, and congratulations to all the young folks that were involved in that. And the only other thing I'll say is on the 6th, we had the JCSA picnic, and I think all of us were there except Michael, but I know that they sent your regrets, but it was very nice to be there. Thank you.
Thank you. I would just say that programs like that we got to see at Literacy for Life and all around this community are just, the amount of volunteerism here is just tremendous, and we're able to do things like that because of it. And I'm just so appreciative because you go to things like that and it's truly life-changing when you realize what effort they put in order to get to the next step. It was just tremendous. I just want to say a happy belated birthday to Supervisor Eisenhower, June 9th. Hope it was a good one. And happy last week of school, I think, for WJCC. They are going longer than anyone else in the area. What's up with that, Jason? I'm looking at you. Have your wife investigate. She's a teacher. If I were her, whoo, I wouldn't be too happy about that. They say it's all about us and our money, but I'm thinking, no, if you're going later than everybody else in town, you're probably not too happy about that. But anyway, I hope the students have a great last day. I just want to say thank you to James City County staff and employees for all of the effort that you've put in every day. Something like this agenda, I think, just says so much about the hard work that everybody puts in, and I'm so grateful for that. I hope you all know that. And then I have to end on a trash note because I was at Target this morning and someone had opened up their car door and just pushed their garbage into the parking lot. And I'll pick up a lot of trash, but sometimes if I'm not sure how sanitary it is, I'm a little leery. But people, we are surrounded by beauty in this community. There is absolutely no reason to trash. And when you do so, it gets into our waterways. It gets into the fish. If you're out fishing and you are putting a cigarette butt out and not putting it in a receptacle, it is getting into the fish. So I just hope, it's just really important to me. I really appreciate, Ms. Foreman, that you come out, that you've made this a cause, everyone that works with your committee. It is truly important. Beautification is just important. So thank you for that. So I'm putting this away like I know what I'm doing next. Okay. Sorry about that. I need a motion to enter closed session for the
report.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's all right. I didn't have much to share.
I'm sorry. I know. Okay, you don't need to point out. Yes, sorry. County Administrator's report.
Madam Chair, members of the board, just a couple items. First, I'd invite the community to join us for our Juneteenth Freedom Fest Saturday, June 15th at Freedom Park, 5537 Centerville Road. It's 1 to 5 p.m. Saturday. Live historical storytelling, dance, singing performances. There'll be food, some grassroots vendors. It is a partnership with the York County, James City, Williamsburg, NAACP, and our Parks and Rec Department. And for more information, 757-808-7062. Again, 757-808-7062. And I'd also like to let the community know about our Clean Water Heritage Grant Program. It is a cost sharing for stormwater-related problems, whether you're an HOA, a business, an individual. If you have a problem with stormwater pipes or other things on your property, we do have a program where we will split the cost with you. We do grants up to $50,000 for actual repairs and up to $6,000 for investigations of drainage systems. Applications are due by August 1st, so residents have some time to get it in. But you can call John Fuqua at 757-253-6785. Again, 757-253-6785. Madam Chair, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I apologize again. I need a motion to enter closed session for the following items: discussion of the award of a public contract involving the expenditure of public funds, and discussion of the terms or scope of such contract where discussion in an open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A29 of the Code of Virginia and pertaining to the contract for the joint operations of schools between the county and the city of Williamsburg. Item 2, consideration of a personnel matter, the appointment of individuals to county boards and or commissions pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia and regarding the Williamsburg Regional Library Board of Trustees. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Mr. Stevens?
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Mr. Hippel?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye. We are in closed session. right, I need a motion to certify the closed session.
Madam Chair, move to certify that we only spoke about those items we indicated we would speak about going into closed session.
Thank you. Mr. Stevens?
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Mr. Hippel?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan.
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower? Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Okay, I move that we appoint John Parman to the Williamsburg Library Board for a term beginning July 1st, 2024 and ending 30 June 2028.
Thank you. Mr. Stevens?
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Mr. Hippel?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan. Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, with that, I will continue until 11 a.m. on June 12th, 2024 at Freedom Park for the county's Juneteenth celebration. And then the next business meeting of the Board of Supervisors will be held at 1 p.m. on June 25th, 2024 in the Government Center Boardroom. Is there a motion to continue?
Motion to continue.
Thank you. Mr. Stevens?
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Hippel? Mr. McGlinnan.
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower? Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, can we take a short recess before JCSA?
Take whatever you want.
Quick run to the Johns.
the James City Service Authority Board of Directors. We call to order. Roll call, Mr. Paul.
Mr. Hippel.
Here.
Mr. McGlinnan.
Here.
Mr. Eisenhower.
Here.
Ms. Larson. Here. Ms. Knoll.
Here. No presentations tonight, sir?
No, ma'am.
Public content?
No
Comment?
No
Nope.
public comment.
Okay. Consent calendar. Tonight's consent calendar consists of the following items. 1, minutes adoption. Number 2, memorandum of understanding between James City Service Authority and James City County for risk management and legal services.
Move the adoption of the consent calendar?
Pardon me? Roll call.
Mr. Hippel.
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan.
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower.
Aye.
Ms. Larson.
Aye.
Ms. Knoll.
Aye. Anyone wish to pull an item? We don't have anything to pull, right? Although
No.
we're done. Public hearings, none. Board
No, ma'am.
consideration,
No, ma'am.
board requests and directives,
Nothing.
nothing.
Oh, just to thank you for the invitation to the
Oh, yes.
luncheon.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't make
which,
it.
That was fun.
Was
That was
an excellent,
Yes.
excellent event.
I appreciate everyone being able to attend, and
Thank you.
Mr. Hippel, I know you had another appointment. We missed you, but yeah, thank you for your support.
It's always very nice.
We
Thank you.
trashed you in your absence.
I know, I'm sure. And I didn't get good food either.
And a general manager's update, sir?
I don't have any update this
Okay.
month.
Okay, I need a motion to go into closed session for, let's see, we're going to do number 3 first. Discussion or consideration of the acquisition of real property for public purposes where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body. Specifically, acquisition of a parcel of property in the Jamestown District for the installation of a water main pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A-3 of the Code of Virginia. Number 2, discussion of the performance. Are we doing number
I think
2?
we'd probably do the
Two
second
next.
one second.
Consultation with legal counsel employed by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel, specifically contracts for service and maintenance of grinder pumps pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A8 of the Code of Virginia. And number 3, discussion of the performance and salary of a specific public officer of the public body, specifically the yearly performance review of the general manager pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia.
Move to go into closed session for these items.
Mr. Hippel.
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan.
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower.
Aye.
Ms. Larson.
Aye.
Ms. Knoll.
Aye.
Bang the gavel.
going into closed session.
Roll call.
Mr. Hippel?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson? Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Other business.
Any other business tonight?
Okay, I'll make the motion on behalf of the Board of Directors that we endorse Mr. Powell's evaluation summary to award him an increase in salary to per his contract at $201,000 per year. And that would be effective July 1st. Roll call.
Roll call.
Mr. Hippel?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Other business.
Any other business?
Move to adjourn to July 9th,
Yes, July 9th for the regular meeting.
5 p.m.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right,
Thank you all.
all right. Thank you very much.
We're done.